Alright guys, today we are going to be working with the acrylic trainer hand, the practice hand. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks to get the nail tips to stick onto it because I know a lot of you guys are having problems with it. First things first, if you're having trouble with these nail beds popping out, um, the reason that happens is that these fingertips tend to slide because of the material. So what you can do is either glue them down, or if you want to do something less permanent, tape it right here around the knuckle, and that'll keep it from sliding and those from popping out. And if tape's still too permanent, just make sure you're holding this while you're moving it or filing, and that'll help keep it from popping out. Now, as far as getting the tips to stick, first thing you want to do is cut these nail beds down because they have a curve to them over the end. So what happens is when you glue a tip on the end, it gives them a really unnatural deep curve. So here, let me show you. So when they're, as long as they come and you put this on, it gives it a really, really deep curve. Now, if you cut them down like this and put the tip on, they go pretty much straight out. So you want to make sure that you're cutting them down to the natural size. So after you get them all cut down to what a human's fingernails would look like, what I do to get them to stick is a Pana 8080 grit extra coarse file. Don't use your sanding band because that's going to be too smooth. It's meant to finish, not to rough it up. Now, first you want to get this nice and even so that when you glue your tips on, they aren't crooked. And then you want to rough up the whole nail bed with that coarse file, but especially the tip. Now what that's going to do is chew it up and leave a lot of debris on it, and that's what the nail tip's going to stick to. Now, if you don't have that coarse file, what you can do is drill a couple of tiny holes in the tip with a drill bit like this, with the pointed tip. Now, with your tips, when you're gluing them on, you want to make sure you're using one size bigger. Otherwise, when you go to glue them, if they fit exactly or if they're too small, if you have to push them down to get them to meet, what's going to happen is they're just going to pop back off. They're going to try to push back together. So you want to use one that's at least one size bigger. Now, when you're gluing them, just use a dot of glue. You don't need a lot, because if you use a lot, it's not going to stick. So you want to just use the bare minimum that you need to get it to stick. Now, when you go to stick it on this tip, it's almost going to look like it's absorbing it, like it's soaking it up. And when you can see that tip, or when you can see the end of this where it looks like it's wet through the tip, that's when you got it. So hold it down and watch it kind of absorb all the way across. Hold it down for about 10 seconds and wait. And then it sticks. Same thing over here. I'll drill a couple holes in it and show you how that works. So you're just going to do a couple of little tiny holes right across the end, just so that glue has something to grab onto. And this is only if you don't have a coarse file, but a coarse file will work. A regular 180 grit file won't work. It leaves it too smooth. So now, again, one size bigger. And this one, let me show you. I'm going to file this one with just a regular file. So it's still got those holes in there. And when we go to glue this one on, it gives it something to grab onto inside those little holes, something for the glue to stick to. There you go. Now, also I see a lot of people with their hands popping off of here, and the reason is on this arm, inside this hand, there's a hole, like a ring, that this arm goes through, and when the arm goes through, a nut grabs it on the other side. Now, that nut isn't tightened all the way down, and that's what allows the hand to move. So, typically what happens is the more you turn this hand, the looser it gets. So all you got to do is take out these screws right here, pop that off, put the arm back through the ring, and put the nut back on the end of it, and just hand tighten it, and then put this back. And that's how you get that hand back on. So if you guys have any questions, comment down below or message me directly. Most of you know how to get a hold of me. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.